もう少しいいでしょ。ダメです。
The anime starts with a young man named Alto Goldfield studying at Ortogir Royal Academy of Magic. Alto currently has the best grades in class in all subjects. However, he receives a 0 score on his summoning exam, which means he must form a contract with a familiar to advance to the second year. If he fails to do so by tomorrow, he will have to repeat the school year. Alto confides in his lover, Lilia, and an old friend, explaining the situation to them. Lilia expresses her gratitude for the opportunity to help him and offers her support. Alto decides to visit the extensive library in an attempt to summon something unique, as his previous attempts at summoning beetles were unsuccessful. While in the library, a book unexpectedly falls on his head. It turns out to be an old book on summoning magic, and Alto discovers a magic circle within its pages. He draws the circle and recites the magic incantation, using his own blood to activate it. Suddenly, a stunning girl with goat ears, a tail, and a naked human body appears before him. The girl asks Alto if he wants her to do something for him, and he timidly requests that she become his familiar. Due to Alto's potent mana, he manages to establish a contract with her. In return for her service, she obtains Alto's mana by kissing him. The girl introduces herself as Vermeil, a demon who had been trapped within the book for a long time. Alto decides to have Vermeil wear his sister's clothes, much to her displeasure. Alto explains the ongoing situation at his academy to Vermeil, who agrees to accompany him. Vermeil continues to sit on Alto's lap during their classes, which causes jealousy and frustration for Lilia. One day, Lilia throws her tie at Alto and challenges him to a duel, a common method for resolving conflicts among students. Lilia sets the condition that if she wins, Alto must leave Vermeil in his room before coming to the academy. If Lilia loses, she must do whatever Alto asks of her. Vermeil suggests that Alto accept the duel. The duel begins, and familiars are allowed to participate as well. Lilia summons Sylphide, a high-class wind spirit, and launches an angry attack on Vermeil. However, Vermeil easily defends herself and even plays a naughty trick on Lilia, causing her to lose the duel. After winning the battle, Alto commands Lilia and Vermeil to become friends and never fight again. Both girls agree and shake hands, settling their differences. Later that night, Vermeil explains to Alto that no human can fully control demons, even with a contract. She reveals that she uses his mana to make herself stronger. While on their way to class, a high-class familiar dragon suddenly breaks free and heads towards Alto. To everyone's astonishment, Vermeil effortlessly flicks it away with a single finger, leaving them in shock. Shortly after, a ceremony commences to promote all the students to the second year. During the ceremony, some of the boys sitting with Alto become fixated on Vermeil's breasts, causing a stir among the attendees. Taking advantage of the situation, a teacher demonstrates the consequences of mistreating familiars and highlights the importance of treating them with love and care. On their way back home, Alto, Lilia, and Vermeil encounter a senior student named Rex, a dragon rider accompanied by a student whose familiar was previously thrown away by Vermeil. They express their anger towards Alto, but he attempts to defuse the situation by utilizing his crystal synthesis ability to apprehend them.
Yay!
However, Rex skillfully summons his dragon, resulting in the crystals breaking, and he demands an apology from Vermeil. In response, Alto steps forward, ready to defend Vermeil, and Rex commands his familiar to attack. Vermeil transfers her golden mana to Alto, enabling him to protect them with a powerful crystal synthesis. Eventually, Rex apologizes for his behavior. Later on, Alto opens up about his dream of becoming a platinum square mage to achieve mastery. Vermeil embraces him, assuring him that she will support him and take care of his dream. At the academy, Alto and his classmates, Marx and Cheryl, come across each other. Both Marx and Cheryl belong to renowned noble families. Subsequently, the headmaster summons Cheryl, Alto, and Lilia for a meeting to select a student representative for the second year. The headmaster devises a trial in which they must locate and retrieve a rare and elusive fairy flower within a limited time frame, as it is known to be challenging to find. Alto, accompanied by Vermeil, Lilia, Cheryl, and Marx, ventures into the jungle. However, Marx becomes ensnared by plant monsters, leading Cheryl to focus on rescuing him. Meanwhile, Alto and Lilia continue their exploration and eventually discover the elusive fairy flower atop a mountain. Unfortunately, the flower is guarded by a three-faced dog monster. In a clever move, Lilia consumes a potent potion of invisibility to bypass the vigilant dogs undetected. Sensing the imminent danger, Alto turns to Vermeil and beseeches her for additional power. Vermeil explains that she amplified his abilities using the mana he provided, and then, once again, playfully brings Alto down for a kiss. On the other side, the dogs catch a whiff of Lilia's scent and attempt to attack her. Swiftly, Alto intervenes, delivering a powerful blow to defend her. He instructs Lilia to seize the flower from behind while he fends off the dogs. However, the dogs persistently assail Alto, prompting him to call for Vermeil's assistance. With a potent spell, Vermeil successfully lulls the dogs to sleep, allowing Lilia to retrieve the flower triumphantly. She presents it to Alto, recognizing his worthiness. Amidst the ongoing conversation, an unforeseen mishap occurs. Lilia's potion wears off, rendering her naked in front of everyone. Feeling uncomfortable, she accidentally releases her grip on the flower, causing it to fly from her hand and land right in front of Cheryl. As fate would have it, Cheryl is selected as the representative, much to the surprise of the others. The next day begins with Vermeil tasting crepes for the first time and thoroughly enjoying them. As they watch a group of dragon riders soaring through the sky, Alto explains that it is a club. He reveals that Rex, whom they encountered earlier, was a member. They engage in a conversation about the club's founder, Captain Chris, who is one of the 7 gold square mages at the academy and holds a position on the student council. Lilia enlightens Vermeil about the prestigious status of the gold squares, with 5 of them serving as executives in the student council. The council president is even on the verge of achieving platinum rank. Later, as they are heading back from the changing room, they witness all 7 club members walking closely together, leaving everyone astounded. In the evening, Alto goes for a bath, and Vermeil follows him, resulting in a shy and intimate moment between the two. Vermeil assures Alto that she will do everything possible to fulfill his dreams. During the same night, Rex is confronted and beaten by Captain Chris, the club's founder, due to losing a duel against a second-year student. His friends recount the incident to Vermeil, Lilia, and Alto, treating it as a regular fight rather than a formal duel. Captain Chris's shoe gets soiled, and she demands that Rex lick it. This degrading act prompts Rex to quit the club and end up in the hospital. Alto, accompanied by Lilia and Vermeil, visits him, expressing concern and inquiring about the circumstances. Rex's friend reveals that Rex is no longer a part of the Dragon Riders due to Alto's involvement, leaving Alto feeling guilty. Driven by his guilt, Alto decides to challenge Captain Chris to a duel. Vermeil and Alto arrive at the battleground and issue the challenge. Captain Chris warns Alto to respect authority, asserting that she will defeat him as punishment. She summons her dragon familiar, Whirlwind, which takes to the sky. Meanwhile, Alto and Vermeil engage in a kiss to exchange mana, preparing for the fight. The duel commences with Alto launching his first attack, Crystal Synthesis, but Captain Chris easily defends against it. In response, she launches multiple attacks, all of which Vermeil and Alto manage to defend against. Alto attempts another crystal-based attack, but it fails, catching Captain Chris's attention regarding Alto's mana levels. Undeterred, Alto launches a powerful attack with Vermeil's assistance, causing the battleground to shatter. Captain Chris, however, manages to mount her dragon and retaliates with a barrage of fire attacks. She boasts about her superiority, belittling others as mere insects compared to the abilities of dragon familiars. Vermeil continues to shield Alto from the onslaught of attacks. With determination, Vermeil informs Alto that he must gather enough mana as they plan to end the duel with a single blow. They prepare a high-powered golden mana attack, and Alto launches a crystal synthesis against Captain Chris's fireball. During the battle, both sides' attacks fail to land successfully. However, Alto and Vermeil come up with a clever strategy using crystals, allowing them to climb up towards the dragon. Alto manages to defeat Captain Chris by pointing a crystal at her neck. The victory brings happiness to the entire academy, and Alto receives admiration from all the girls. Professor Obsidian expresses his appreciation for Alto's skills. Later, Captain Chris follows the rules and cleans up the battleground, with Rex assisting her in the process. That night, Vermeil wakes Alto with a kiss and asks if he dislikes her displays of affection. She expresses her love for him. Alto later approaches Professor Obsidian and asks about a demon falling in love with a human. The professor explains that demons may love humans for their mana. During dinner, Alto becomes preoccupied with his thoughts, and Vermeil notices his confusion. He questions whether Vermeil only likes him because of his mana. Vermeil clarifies that while she needs mana to survive, her love for Alto extends beyond that. She kisses him, expressing her genuine affection. The next morning, Professor Obsidian summons a girl from the academy to assist him. They share their love for each other in the library. Later, the girl, Emma Abeline, a fourth-year Silver Square specializing in ice magic, is discovered frozen in her room. This incident marks the fourth occurrence this year. Ryuga, the vice president of the student council, and chairperson Jessica discuss the situation and decide to find the person responsible, as the student council president is deeply troubled by these events. Meanwhile, while Alto's teacher assigns homework to create a report about their familiars, including their main features, height, weight, and daily activities, Lilia spies on him. Lilia consumes an invisibility potion and sneaks into the boys' dormitory, eventually making her way to Alto's room. Meanwhile, Alto and Vermeil go shopping together. While shopping, Alto gathers ingredients for their dinner and Vermeil playfully asks for desserts, kissing him in public. Suddenly, a panicked friend of Rex approaches them, seeking help. Rex has become even more powerful than before, relentlessly beating Captain Chris. She tries to defend herself with a fireball attack, but he effortlessly blocks it and continues to attack, severely injuring her. Alto, Vermeil, and Rex's friend arrive on the scene. Alto becomes angry with Rex for his actions and shows concern for Chris. Rex, in turn, becomes angry and attempts a powerful blow but fails. The student council president arrives just in time to save Chris, slicing through the dragon with her judgment sword and injuring Rex. Rex loses consciousness and is admitted to the hospital. The student council holds a meeting to discuss the escalating incidents, now totaling 5, and their determination to uncover the mastermind behind it all. Later, a notice is issued for the Bronze Square exam. Vermeil requests some rest and asks Alto to study for the exam in his room, stating that it's not her concern. Alto feels a sense of unease but decides to study with Lilia in her room. On her way back to the dorm, Vermeil encounters Professor Obsidian and warns him to stay away from Alto, as she senses low tier clinging and knows that humans cannot handle such immense power. She threatens to tear him apart. As she continues on her way, the professor secretly injects her with something, causing a reaction in Vermeil. Meanwhile, Lilia tries to seduce Alto by displaying her breasts to get him in the mood for studying. Suddenly, Alto's familiar sign starts blinking, and an explosion occurs. The members of the student council are alerted, and the sky darkens. Alto rushes to find Vermeil, while the president encounters a floating church sign that surrounds her, and Vermeil struggles as her true form as a demon begins to manifest. Later, Alto arrives and is stunned to see Vermeil in her transformed state. He questions the professor about the situation, only to discover that the professor has chained Vermeil by her neck, claiming to be a superior master. The professor reveals that he injected a liquid that causes powers to go out of control, specifically targeting true demons. He admits to using 5 other students as part of his plan. Shocked by the revelation that the professor orchestrated everything, Alto activates his mana. Vermeil launches an attack on the professor while defending Alto, but in the process, Alto gets fatally wounded. Feeling guilty and alone, Vermeil becomes more ferocious. However, she suddenly embraces Alto and begins to weep. In her dream, she finds Alto dead, but she uses her golden mana to heal him. Meanwhile, the professor injects himself and transforms into a monstrous creature with multiple eyes. He attacks Vermeil, but she retaliates by crushing his hand with a single punch. The professor attempts to escape by flying, but Captain Chris intercepts him and, with Vermeil's assistance, defeats him. Alto wakes up later, and Lilia expresses her joy that he is alive. Alto ponders his wounds and what has transpired. The president continues her fight against the co-conspirator, who eventually disappears. Vermeil and Alto have a conversation about the accident, revealing that Alto's heart only beats with Vermeil's mana. Alto expresses his gratitude for saving his life, but Vermeil discloses that the heart in Alto's chest is hers, the heart of a true demon. If she were to die, he would die as well. Overwhelmed with emotions, Alto sheds tears for the demon who lives for centuries and apologizes to her. Professor Obsidian is apprehended by city guards, and Rex wakes up to find Captain Chris by her side. All the coma-stricken students also awaken and start to feel better. As Alto's heart relies on Vermeil's mana to function, they share a nightly kiss. However, Vermeil starts speaking less and avoids being around too much after revealing her true form. She informs Alto that his heart will take decades to function properly on its own, but when that happens, her purpose will be fulfilled and she will leave. In response, Alto kisses her, expressing his love without consuming mana, and assures her that he is not afraid of her and needs her by his side. The following day, the girls in the classroom cry over the loss of Professor Obsidian, while the boys express their anger at Alto for not bringing Vermeil with him lately. Alto decides to buy desserts on his way back home to cheer her up. Vermeil stands alone, having a conversation with Lilia where she apologizes for being a demon and asks if Lilia is afraid of her. Lilia understands the situation and reassures Vermeil that what matters most is how she and Alto feel about each other. She suggests that Vermeil should lean on Alto more since she is his familiar. Alto returns home and feels happy that Vermeil is feeling better. Vermeil expresses her love for Alto and her fear of hurting him again. They talk about spending their lives together and the conversation ends with a kiss. The next day, they go to the academy together. The story shifts to Iolite, a platinum-revoked student, talking on the phone about Professor Obsidian's failure. Suddenly, a church sign is attacked from behind, but it is successfully defended by a horse-headed figure wielding iron rods, accompanied by Heliodor, a platinum square student. Meanwhile, all the boys are thrilled to see Vermeil again. Alto's friend reminds him about the bronze exam and prepares Vermeil for it. While they are in the classroom, the student council president, along with others, approaches their class and takes Alto into custody. They have a conversation about Professor Obsidian, his escape from prison, and suspicions that Alto might be hiding something. The president slightly hints at the quick healing of Alto's wounds and points a sword at Alto's neck while aiming arrows at Vermeil, demanding that they reveal everything. Alto tells the president about Vermeil being a demon and having a demon heart within him. He defends Vermeil, emphasizing that she is not a bad demon, and declares that he will oppose anyone who tries to harm her. The president clarifies the misunderstandings and declares that all familiars are equal. In the end, the president offers Alto a position on the executive team of the student council. Alto is appreciated by the president for his duel with Captain Chris, acknowledging her as a formidable opponent. They discuss the incident where Chris got hurt, and the president chooses Alto to protect the academy with his powers. After discussing the situation with Lilia, Cheryl, and others, Alto decides to join the council as everyone is happy to see him progress in his life. Vermeil and Alto have a conversation where she advises him to be careful around the council, especially the president, as she gives off a bad vibe. Vermeil suggests that Alto becomes stronger than the entire world to defend her, which brings her happiness. Later, Vermeil and Alto attend a meeting with the council members. However, Alto mistakenly opens the door and sees the council members changing their clothes, angering Jessica. During the meeting, the president discusses the purpose, which is to examine the church sign and the mage element used against her in a previous fight. They realize that they have never encountered this type of magic before and it contains a complex formula. The president predicts their enemy to be a platinum square mage. Meanwhile, Iolite and Heliodor meet with Kohakumia, another platinum square mage who attacked the president earlier using her paper doll's magic. They are revealed to be preparing an octopus monster and have already killed the most skilled caster of divine magic among the platinum squares. Their next target is Vermeil and Alto. At night, Alto has a dream of a young Vermeil crying. Suddenly, a woman approaches him and presents a choice between serving the benefit of all mankind or benefiting Vermeil alone, leading to destruction. Alto wakes up and starts preparing for his bronze exam, feeling pressured by the council members. The day of the exam arrives, and Alto is ready with his mana. They go to a neutral location where mages from different nations gather. They are taken to one of the 10 practical sites for the exam, where Colonel Pharynx explains the practical exam, which involves measuring the quality and amount of mana through the use of flames. During the practical exam, students attempt to blow up the flame using their mana, but many struggle, underestimating the difficulty. It is now Lilia's turn, and instead of focusing on the crystal, she applies her whole mana directly to the fire, becoming the top scorer. Another student from a different school successfully blows up the fire after making a comment about Ortegia Academy. Cheryl also passes her test, while Marx barely manages to move the fire. Now it's Alto and Vermeil's turn, and initially everyone doubts Vermeil, mistaking her for a human. However, they soon learn that she is Alto's human familiar. Alto tries to decipher the crystal formula as a pseudo-matrix, and he figures out the straight line to the center. Colonel Pharynx recognizes his brilliance, as the test was designed to measure the ability to understand formulas. Alto astounds everyone by turning the fire silver, finding the most difficult spot, and supplying more mana to break the crystal. Even the gold square and a platinum square found it challenging. Alto apologizes to Colonel Pharynx for breaking the crystal, but passes the test with flying colors. Later, they discuss the practical exam and gain confidence in acing the written portion as well. Alto and Vermeil exchange a kiss for mana, and Alto gets prepared for his exam. On his way to the exam hall, he encounters the student from the other school. Alto leaves with hope that he will pass the exam. Meanwhile, in the washroom, the student from the other school encounters Iolite and kills him, assuming his identity. The president has a conversation with Jessica while bathing, explaining the true bond between Alto and Vermeil as a demon and human bond. Jessica asks about the heart, and the president explains that she did it for love and only love. Alto leaves for the exam hall, leaving Vermeil behind since familiars are not allowed. He finds his assigned seating area and discovers Iolite sitting beside him.
隣よろしく
During the exam, Iolite, who is sitting next to Alto, falls asleep, making Alto feel unfocused and finding the test more difficult. Suddenly, Iolite wakes up and completes the test within a minute. He starts talking to Alto in the middle of the exam but is stopped by the professor. Then, news arrives of a student found dead in the restroom, followed by a massive explosion. Iolite reveals himself as Alto's enemy, and Alto realizes that Iolite had helped Professor Obsidian. Colonel Pharynx appears and attacks Professor Obsidian, while Vermeil enters the room but fails in her attack. Colonel Pharynx identifies Iolite as the Heaven's Will and the youngest mage on the Platinum Square, calling him a prodigy. Lilia tries to join the fight to rescue Alto but is initially stopped by the guards. Later, everyone, including the guards, is immobilized due to transference magic. Iolite fires multiple shots from tank guns, severely injuring everyone. In a fit of anger, Alto activates his golden mana, freeing Vermeil. He then activates silver mana, destroying all of Iolite's weapons, including his rock machine. Alto attempts to attack Iolite but is intercepted by his knights, and Vermeil appears in her true form, attempting to attack Alto but being easily captured and locked with chains. Alto tries to prevent Iolite from taking Vermeil, but Iolite launches a powerful attack with his knight, which fails due to the book in Alto's bag, where Vermeil had been sealed for years. Suddenly, the woman from Alto's dream appears, introducing herself as the Mage of Beginnings. She explains that Vermeil had requested to be sealed away due to her traumatic memories imprisoning her. The mage urges Alto to prepare himself to accept Vermeil for who she is, and Alto expresses his unwavering feelings and determination to stand by her side, no matter what. Iolite launches another attack, but they are teleported to the world of Vermeil's memories, where Alto must save her. Failure to do so would result in them being trapped there forever. The place is set 550 years ago, before the kingdom of Ortegia was even founded. Alto watches Vermeil's past and becomes confused because Vermeil appeared very happy. He discovers that Vermeil has no blood relatives and lives with an elder sister, Miel, and 2 younger siblings, forming a loving family despite their poverty. Later that day, elder sister reveals to Vermeil that she is a demon. Vermeil feels saddened by this revelation, believing that demons are bad and enemies of God. However, sister assures her that it doesn't matter and they are family, expressing unconditional love for her. After some time, some children from the neighborhood discover Vermeil's horn and realize she is a demon. They begin bullying her by throwing stones and verbally abusing her, hoping to force her out of the village. Alto becomes enraged witnessing this cruelty. Miel comes to Vermeil's rescue but is shocked when she sees Vermeil's horn. Despite her surprise, Miel embraces Vermeil and reassures her that she will always support her. News of Vermeil's secret spreads throughout the village, leading to a protest outside their house. The villagers are angry that Vermeil's true nature was concealed for so long and blame her for the village's troubles. Miel advises Vermeil to leave the village and promises to find a solution so they can be together again. She feels sorry for not being strong enough to protect Vermeil. Vermeil decides to run away, but the villagers search for her. Fearing for her family's safety, Vermeil chooses to sacrifice herself and return to the villagers, hoping they will spare her family. Upon her return, Vermeil discovers her entire family hanged to death. Traumatized by this horrific sight, she becomes consumed by anger and rage, unleashing her power to destroy the entire village. Alto witnesses everything, understanding the immense suffering Vermeil has endured. He approaches her, and despite her sadness and guilt over her actions, Alto manages to calm her down. He promises to stand by her side, even if the whole world turns against her, and confesses his feelings for her. Vermeil slowly returns to her normal state, finding solace in Alto's presence. Alto and Vermeil share a romantic moment where Alto promises never to leave Vermeil's side and vows to stand by her regardless of the circumstances. With their bond strengthened, they manage to break free from the chains and return to the present time. Prepared for battle against Iolite, they confront him. Iolite reveals his ambition to obtain Vermeil's power in order to destroy the world, considering her the strongest demon. This angers Alto as he refuses to let Vermeil be treated as a mere weapon. The battle commences as Iolite summons his pet demon. Together, Vermeil and Alto merge their powers and unleash a crystal attack, successfully obliterating the energy ball and defeating the demon in a single blow. Frustrated, Iolite is about to unleash his own power when a portal opens, and a woman, revealed to be a platinum-ranked mage, intervenes, urging Iolite to retreat. Iolite begrudgingly withdraws, vowing to continue the fight another time.
ダメです。さてね。せいぜい頑張んな、マスターくん。
Alto experiences a mix of anger and relief that the immediate danger has passed, and Vermeil is safe. Fatima, who had been observing the battle, expresses her satisfaction in entrusting Vermeil to Alto's care. Determined to grow stronger, Alto resolves to fight alongside Vermeil and protect her. Fatima bids farewell, revealing that she had been the mage who safeguarded Vermeil within the book all this time. Vermeil notices Fatima's presence and expresses her gratitude. Lilia rushes towards Alto, overjoyed to see him unharmed. Later that day, Alto undergoes training with Jessica, who proves to be a formidable opponent, quickly defeating him. Chris, observing the training, also joins in and defeats Alto. Despite the losses, Alto shows rapid improvement. When asked about his motivation to become stronger, Alto reveals that it is to protect someone he loves. In an intimate scene that night, Alto and Vermeil express their love for each other. The following morning, they are summoned to the meeting room, where they discuss the recent events that have harmed many weaker students. As leaders of the council, they decide it is time to take action against the forces of evil. Meanwhile, the results of the exams are announced, with Lilia and Mark successfully passing their bronze positions. However, Lilia becomes concerned when she realizes that Vermeil and Alto are missing. She worries that Vermeil may be taking advantage of Alto's innocence, only to discover them in the park, where Vermeil lies on Alto, kissing him. This concludes Season 1 of Vermeil in Gold. If you enjoyed it, let me know your thoughts in the comments. And we're out.